Rev up your engines!
Damien Passor says, what's your opinion on the new 2021 Range Rover Sport? If you have an infinite supply of money and you don't mind throwing it into a money pit, go right ahead and buy one. Those are one of the worst breakdown vehicles ever made. They keep saying they're making them better, but they don't. Those things are so bad that even in China, a communist country, people who bought them complained to the government about how poorly made they were. They thought they got ripped off. So, if you don't care about money, what the heck? Go ahead and buy one, you know? They cost a fortune. Check their resale value. It's nothing. If you really want one, buy a used one. At least you won't lose as much money. Trav FDY says, Scotty, what's the most miles you've ever seen on a supercharged engine? It was on one of those supercharged Buicks, and it was an older man, and he didn't gun it, and he had 170,000. It was still going, and he didn't push it, and he changed his oil every 3,000 miles, and that's the most I've ever seen on one before, you know, it was blowing or had something going, but he changed the oil a lot. Keith Rivers says, my 2011 Camry gets loud at 30 and 60 miles an hour. What would cause this? Depending on which gear you're in, of course. Generally, it's wheel bearing wear. 11-year-old car. You go down the road, and the faster the wheels spin and the engine revs, you hear roar, roar, roar. That's the wheel bearings. Then you figure out which one it is. Each wheel has wheel bearings, something, right? Now, if it's not that, watch my video, Finding the Source of Car Noise of Scotty. Type that in YouTube, watch it. And you'll see with any listening device, you can pinpoint the noises like that, rather than guess. Since it's 30 and 60, it's not going to make the noise sitting there. You got to be driving it. These noise analytical machines are great. And recently, I made another one about noise, and it was an even lower price machine. I just went to Amazon and said car noise finding machines, and I got it for like $80, and it's got 8 sensors and 8 wires, headphones, and a unit, and you can find any noise with it. It's only like $80. It's great for, you can use it on your house too if you're looking for like oil leaks, noises and stuff leaking. It's phenomenal. No, Hernandez said, would it be better, an 04 4Runner or an 04 Grand Cherokee? Well, you never know until you check them out, of course, because one might be wrecked, one flooded, the other might not, but the 4Runners are 10 times better built than the Grand Cherokees. I got one sitting in a driveway now that I'm maintaining for a customer. He's got 389,000 miles. He's the original owner. It doesn't burn oil. It doesn't make any noise. The AC still runs perfectly fine. And it still runs like a top. Even the interior leather isn't ripped or torn. You could never say that about a Grand Cherokee. The only difference is you're going to be able to get a Grand Cherokee so much cheaper on an 04 than a 4Runner. You'll probably pay 2 to 3 or even 4 times the price for the 4Runner because everybody knows they're good and they get a lot of money for them used. I still buy one over a Jeep any day. King Kang says, Scotty, I got a 2013 Chrysler 200 with a 2.4 like the Dart video with 300,000 miles. What should I do to make it last long? Now, if you have 300,000 miles on it now, I doubt if you do, you're talking about the video I made. Realize that the 200s, they don't make it anymore. They had a lot of Fiat technology in them. But if you bought one, hope you didn't pay much because they're not worth anything. If you bought one, realize it's Italian technology. You want to change the engine oil, use full synthetic oil and change it every 4,000 to 5,000 miles religiously. You want to baby the transmission. You want to change the transmission fluid every 30,000 miles. That's the weakest part of that car is the automatic transmission. I rented one years ago when I came to Nashville before I moved here, visit the grandkids, and that transmission was horrendous and the car only had 1,500 miles on it. So you'd want to take care of the transmission. Do a lot of praying, you know? Sean's Classic Truck says, what are your thoughts on square body GMs? Will they go up in value? Generally, well-built vehicles that are classics will go up in value. I think they probably will. The thing is, back in the day, everybody wanted to get the 50s, and then it was the 60s, then it was the 70s. Well, guess what? They're getting older and older. They're rotting away. Hardly any of them left. And a lot of people are making 80s and even early 90 ones are starting to become sort of classic vehicles that people want to buy. So, yeah, I'd say if you can find a good one, you take care of it, it'll probably go up in value quite a bit. Not as much as the ones from the 50s and 60s because they made so many more of the more modern ones. Hey, if they only made 10,000 of a car 50 years later, how many are left, right? But if they made 300, 400,000 of them that year, there's still going to be a bunch of them left and the value isn't as much. Jody F. Cobb says, I got an '06 Nissan Titan. The blower motor works when it feels like it. 90% of the time, that's just the blower motor that's going out. And here's the easiest test. The blower motor is by your glove box, right? So when it doesn't work, have the passenger kick the glove box underneath as hard hard as they can. If it starts going, you need a new motor. Just like an old toaster, sometimes you hit them and then they work, same thing. Now, if that doesn't work, then it can be, the relay could be going bad, the blower motor resistor could be going bad. Most of the time, it's just the blower motor, though. So kick it. If it works, go get another blower motor. And you don't have to go to Dodge and buy their outrageously expensive crap. You can go to any place, AutoZone, O'Reilly, any of those Pep Boy auto parts stores. You can get the ones made in China, and they work perfectly fine. They cost a lot less. James Self says, Scotty, what could cause oil to get in a cold air intake tube on a 2011 Ford Explorer? If you have it set up with all the anti-pollution equipment, it's coming through there. Because a true cold air intake just has a filter, it's a cold air intake. There's nothing going in it other than air. Let's say you have a turbo and a cold air intake. Then it means your turbo seals are going and the turbo's blowing oil in. Like if you have a normal turbocharged car and you use a lot of oil, but you don't see it leaking anywhere, what you do is you take the intake out on the turbo where the intercooler is. It's supposed to just be air. If the intercooler tube and everything is all coated with oil, it means your turbo seal's gone and the oil's going by the turbo. So if you got a turbo, it could easily be that too. You didn't say whether it was turboed or not. Terry Kudera says, what are your thoughts on the ceramic coatings that are applied to cars' finish? Are they worth the money? Generally not. That's like kind of another scam. I had a Russian company a few years ago sent me one, and I'm not kidding. It was a bottle that had half an ounce of the spray in, right? And it was like $79. Most of it is just a scam. Here's the thing you have to understand about your paint. Paint on a car has to remain somewhat supple. It's got to be flexible. Painting something, spraying some ceramic crap on. And the worst thing is, a lot of guys are like, they'll have a $100,000 car. I don't want to ruin my paint. I'm going to put the ceramic seal on. I've seen guys do that. It'll ruin the paint job. You never know what kind of chemicals these clowns put in those things. Let's face it. If the crap really worked, they'd build cars that way so the paint would look good. It's like people say, they can get this thing in your car, it'll get 150 miles a gallon, but the government is just taking it out. They're not allowing it. What a bunch of nonsense. That's a bunch of nonsense, too. The ceramic stuff, most of it's BS. I'd stay far away from it. Glenn Brannon says, I got a 98 Buick Le Sabre, AC and heat switches between vents as it sees fit. What could it be other than a vacuum? It's a 98, so realize on that, it's not even much vacuum. It's almost all electronics. And what's happening is, I've worked on enough of those things to know 99% of the time that's a bad AC control unit. That controls it all. It goes through relays, it goes through actuators, goes through a little computer module, but it knows it's almost always the control unit itself. You got to buy the whole thing. Then it has to be reprogrammed to fit in your car. If you don't want to guess, you pay a guy like me with his machine and we do tests and find out exactly what's wrong. From my experience, 99% of the time it's the control unit has gone bad and it keeps flipping the message so it goes back and forth all the time. K-Tech says, Scotty, nice to see you. I got an '08 Honda Accord. On startup, the engine rattles. Everyone says it was a VTC actuator, but after replacing it, hasn't gone away. Any ideas? So think about those Hondas. You got an actuator, right? But realize that below that, there is a part you can bolt out that has a filter. A lot of times that stupid filter gets clogged out. You got to take it out, clean it all out, put it back in. That's also going to do the same thing because the actuator works by electricity and oil pressure, but that little filter that's in a different part, if it clogs up, your pressure takes a while to build up. Pray it's that, because if it isn't, generally it means that either your timing chain is worn or tensioner is getting old and it isn't going out. But on the other hand, if you watch that video I put up the other day, there's a company called Automotive Test Solutions in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and they sell an oil cleaner. You put it in your engine oil. You run it 15 minutes, then you change the engine oil and filter. And if your tensioner is not popping out first because it's got carbon buildup and it won't pop immediately, you do that. A lot of times it'll clean it right off and it'll stop rattling entirely. I did one the other day and it did. It stopped rattling entirely after I changed the oil and put it in. So you might try that. That often does it because to change the timing chain or the tensioner is a very expensive job. Agent Kine said, would I be able to see you? I live in the Tennessee area. Well, it depends. I get around fast. I'm always going places here or there. You never know. People see me driving down the road. The other day I was driving down the road. Guy pulled up next, took my picture and took off. So you never know. Rhode Island, soon to visit the other grandkids. I'll be there for a couple of months. But then I'll be back here again. So, I'm around all over the place, all the time. But you can always see me here on YouTube. Answer their questions. I'm here live. And yes, it's me live. It's not taped. It's not some BS podcast that somebody makes and then they edit it and then they broadcast it at a different time. No, this is absolutely positively live. I had a guy once say, I don't believe you're live. Pick your nose. I read it, so I picked my nose after I read it. And that proved that it's live. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.